TV party tonight!
What?
TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else!
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes.
To our favorite shows!
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson and Blurnsville.
Futurama!
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting premiere podcast TV party tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite show is Obi Wan Kenobi, brought to you by the good people at Lucasfilm and Disney Plus. Joining me today at his insistence, he said, I'm coming on this show and we're going to talk happy. We're going to say that we love Star Wars, and I'm not Chris Bailey. I am, in fact, Ronnie Adams of the Streaming Boy Podcast. How do you do, sir?
I'm doing well. I love how you keep announcing me from a dead show.
I announce everyone from that show now.
That's true.
How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
It's been a long time since you and I have rock and rolled.
It has, and I'll tell you what. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock and roll with you, sir, and party every day.
I don't even care about this show. What I'm looking forward to is this Sunday when we talk AT Miami Vice and Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh gosh, I know.
Waiting months to do that.
I love Star Wars and I love this show. Well, I really like this show.
I like it as a friend.
We had a talk. We're not going to exclusively see each other anymore. But no, give me some campy action movies, and I'm all about that.
And also joining me is my sci-fi brother from another mother. He likes to attack Mars because Mars attacks. Ladies and gentlemen, he's from the Foundation. Star Trek, shoot him in the face. David Wright, how do you do, sir?
Well, geez, after that introduction for Ronnie, I feel like I'm crashing a party or something.
You'll never be the third wheel in my little polyamory podcast there, sir.
Well, it depends. What's the maximum number of wheels?
Where we're going, we don't need roads. So we don't need.
You ever seen an 18-wheeler, son?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, I'm number 18. Yep, definitely not 3.
All right, so we're all big. We don't need to do a whole lot of kitchen table setting here. We're all big Star Wars fans. I do want to ask you guys as we jump into Obi Wan Kenobi. Was this something that you wanted? Did you find yourself after Revenge of the Sith and thinking about A New Hope and Sir Alec Guinness wandering around the Tunisian desert going, I don't know what this movie is and I don't know what I'm saying, so I guess I'll just read the lines verbatim and not put any inflection in it. I love you, Sir Alec Guinness. Never change. Was this when you think about like, oh, Disney bought Lucasfilm, we're going to get more Star Wars. You know, there's this world out there of rich stories to draw from, and we're going to ignore them all and create new ones.
And then complain that we have nothing to base them off of.
Right. And then say, well, there's no comic books or novels to base these off of, as they're like throwing years and years worth of comics and novels into the fire. And we're not bitter about it at all as fans. Anyway, Ronnie and then David, when thinking about new Star Wars, was this something that you wanted? Like, what happened to Obi Wan Kenobi between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Or, you know, when they announced it, were you like, really? He's old and he's living in the desert. What do we need to know here?
No, this was something I was pretty excited about. It's something I never really thought about twice, because I did read a lot of the extended universe as a kid and as a teenager.
Legends, Ronnie. It's now Legends. And I'm not bitter about it at all.
Not at all. I mean, I was one of the guys that said, I understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they paid a lot of money for this franchise. So let's make it where, you know, let's take the convoluted stuff out of it, you know, which it did get kind of crazy there. Don't, you can't deny that.
You're talking about like after they killed Chewbacca with the Il Salamiri and all of that.
Yeah. With the legend stuff, it got pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, let's, you know, it's kind of like Marvel tried to do the last, Secret Wars. They're like, okay, we have a bunch of different pizzas here. Let's take the best toppings from all the pizzas and put them on one.
Yeah.
and then they just shot themselves in the foot and said, "Oh, we got a multiverse again." And then, but so that's kind of what they were trying to do here. I get I get it. Some of it I like, some of it I don't like, some of it I could care less. This is one of those things that I never thought I wanted, but I did want it when I thought about it. Okay. I was like, this could be really, really cool. Because what did Obi-Wan do between the years of, between Order 66 and then, A New Hope?
It's a 20-year period. Did he just hang out in the desert fighting sand people the whole time? Like, what did he do? It's a legit question.
Was he chilling? Was he like, I know we know he was like Herbert and Family Guy looking over Luke, but it was like, I shouldn't have said that. But it was one of those things where, like, I mean, what else did he do? So it was a really cool concept and a really cool idea to come up with this. It's just like like the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Oh my gosh, both of those. I don't care what anybody says. I still like the Book of Boba Fett. But it just, they're finally expanding on what happened to these characters in between times and filling in some holes that need to be filled anyway.
They are certainly filling in holes that need to be filled. I'm gonna
credit to that one.
Yeah, you did. That's what you said. Hey, Dave. What about you? Was this something that you had wondered about and would hope that they would make some hay out of, or you were like, I don't care?
Initially I was kind of like, really, Obi-Wan? That's the story you're gonna say? Like he waited in the desert and then A New Hope happened. That was my idea of things. But the one thing I was excited about was to see Ewan McGregor back, because as much has been said about the prequel trilogy, many of it legitimate. Ewan McGregor's performance was a big plus there. Like,
absolutely,
like he just the charisma that he exuded was just it was great. So I was happy to see.
Hello there.
Yeah, exactly. I was happy to see him back again, and that was kind of the one thing that kind of made me go like, I'll give it a shot. Yeah.
So for me, this was not something when thinking about new Star Wars, it was like, oh my God, I got to know what happened to, Ewan McGregor after Revenge of the Sith. I honestly did not care. But it's one of those where they say in wrestling, sometimes you have an arena that needs a match and sometimes you have a match that needs an arena. My thing with this was, if you're going to say, hey, look, everyone likes Ewan McGregor, everyone wants to see more of him in that character doing something. We have this 20-year period that takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Let's do something with it. Okay, as an elevator pitch, I'm not completely turned off. Like, I get it. Okay, so what do you got for me? Well, we have this story where we're going to have him hang out with young Leia. Okay, there are no other children in the universe. It's only the one, right? Her and Luke, only the two? Okay, there's no other children. Got it. So they're gonna kidnap Leia and he's gonna rescue her, and he's gonna struggle with depression and trauma and guilt over him losing Anakin to the dark side and Anakin becoming the universe's most notorious murderer. I get that. That's a lot. Okay, so far so good. Don't necessarily think the one child in existence in the universe thing is okay, but okay, a meditation on trauma and guilt in the Star Wars universe would not be the worst thing ever. Oh, there's this other character that's going to be there. Fuck, here we go. So she's a strong black female who don't need no man. Shut up, Lucasfilm. The Force is not female. The Force is the Force.
Like, I love Bob Chipman's theory that Disney has tried so much to like create content for boys and just never really manage it. I mean, when it comes to like girls, princesses, they've got that locked up. They got that market. That is theirs and theirs alone. And then it's like, well, okay, we're not good at making our own original content for boys, so let's just buy Marvel and Star Wars. Boys like that. Okay, great. So Kathleen, what do you think we should do with Star Wars? It's for girls now. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, look, I'm not. Look, if you can tell a solid story with a strong female lead that doesn't cap all the men at the knees, fine. Probably don't call it Obi Wan Kenobi, though. The reason everyone fucking watched the show in the first place. Like, that's the Trojan horse, and this is where we're going to start our discussion. That's the Trojan horse bullshit that I can't get behind.
Yeah.
Like, it's what we really want to do is tell you a story about the strong black female who don't need no man. Okay. No one's going to watch that. This is a product that is absolutely for all kinds of men, many of which don't want to watch a story about a strong black female who don't need no man. Okay, well, how are we going to get them to watch? Put her in the Obi Wan Kenobi show. Everyone wants to see Ewan McGregor. Oh, fuck you, Disney. Just fuck off. And that, David, is where I want to begin the discussion. It's a half of the story is about Ewan McGregor, Obi Wan Kenobi, dealing with the guilt of and the trauma of what happened with him and Anakin at the end of Revenge of the Sith, which was story enough. It really was. Like, and I want to come back to this because some of that stuff where Vader's like chasing him down and the ultimate resolution of the show was almost WandaVision bad. But I'll get to it. I really want to deal with the Reva stuff first. Because really, why would anyone else want to watch a review with, 3 cisgendered white guys if they're not tearing down the one black woman in the show? So here we go. Half of the show is her story. It's her redemption arc after she spent years and years and years trying to get close to Vader by being a murderer, a child murderer at that. We're going to redeem her at the end by saying, it was all because I wanted to get back at Darth Vader. I killed all these people. To be fair, how else are you going to earn Vader's respect? The problem with this is the writing doesn't really hold up here. Her story is, I'm going to kill all these people and getting Vader's good graces. And when his back is turned and he's comfortable with me, stab him in the back. The Jedi who can sense what you're doing. Yeah, it's like, third sister, I too used to kill younglings. Hey, third sister, saw that coming. Dope. So I'll take a breath here. I did not. So much of the show is spent on Reva's arc, and the actress is fine, but the character is poorly written. The motivations are dumb, and the resolution with her could not be more hackneyed and forced if they tried. What did you think, David? Yeah, I think. Yes, the show Obi-Wan does not always center on Obi-Wan, but I think it centers on Obi-Wan enough that he's there throughout the whole show, and he does have his arc. Mm-hmm. Well, this is not like the moment Leia or Reva appear, Obi-Wan's kicked to the side, and it's the Leia Reva show also featuring Obi-Wan sometimes getting his ass kicked by all the women because men suck, girl power. Mm-hmm. No, I would say some would argue that is what happens in this show, but I'll let you make your point. I would say, certainly. I mean, we've been beaten enough by this. It's we're way beyond once bitten, twice shy now. We're at 15 times bitten, 16 times screw you. Yeah. So I can cut some slack for that, and yeah, certainly you start off in the show. It's very Reva heavy, and then we get the surprise that it's Leia that Obi-Wan's going to be dealing with, not Luke. And I can certainly understand for those first handful of episodes. Everyone's on their guards, like, okay, let's not get too attached. You just know they're just gonna kick Obi-Wan to the side, and it's gonna be girls run this thing better, yada yada yada. The girls get it done. Yeah, I mean, I was cautious, but I was also understanding that yes, Obi-Wan is not going to be an unstoppable badass right from the get-go because character development. This is going to be how Obi-Wan gets his groove back, and that is what we got in the end. And I was okay with using Leia. I thought was a good move because what are you going to do with Luke? He's on the farm in the middle of nowhere. And he pretty much grows up not knowing a thing about the Force and the Jedi and all that stuff. So having Leia goes missing, that's the one thing that could get Obi-Wan off the planet. Leia is pretty much equally as important as Luke to their future plans of eventually defeating the Sith. So Can I argue against that though? And I don't want to lose Ronnie here. So Ronnie, yeah, I'm almost finished my points, but yeah. But I have a problem with that particular argument. I think your hero in his redemption arc, it didn't have to be Leia, and this is my problem. I'm going to quote something. Okay, that the Red Letter Media guy said that the Star Wars universe is way too small. It is only seemingly focused on a handful of characters, and that's it. You have this vast universe with this, almost eternal shelf of characters to draw from. They talk about the same 5. again and again and again. The Star Wars, it would be like if Star Trek only talked about Kirk and Spock. Like, no, they've created all kinds of shows with new characters. We've well past Kirk and Spock. It's a little exhausting that Star Wars can't seem to get out of its own way and be like, and I get the argument that someone on the other side might be making, like, yeah, but audiences only want to see Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han, and they just want to see familiar characters. They don't want anything new. Try a little harder.
Yeah, I personally don't mind at all when Star Wars gets away from the Skywalkers. It's done that many times before in the Legends timeline, and it's always been great. Like I completely agree. There's a lot more to the story, and everyone seemed to enjoy the Mandalorian even without the Luke Skywalker cameo. Like so there's a clear precedent that you don't always have to go back to that well, and Star Wars can thrive. But yeah, for me, it's like I don't really think there's any other character that could really be in trouble, who would be in trouble, that Obi-Wan would have left Luke to go deal with. Like, even if it was like another Force-sensitive kid or a Jedi, it's like, they're not the children of the Chosen One. They're not the ones who have the super Force abilities of the Skywalkers. So, doing the sort of butcher's arithmetic, Obi-Wan would have said, like, no, I'm sorry, there's nothing I could do. Like, he leaves the guy to hang in the first episode, that Jedi on the Run. Like, that just shows that, nothing else matters to me except for protecting these kids. That is all that matters. That is the only plan that is going to win in the end. So, the only character of equal importance to Luke, therefore, would be Leia, and she's not on Tatooine, unlike everyone else in the galaxy. So, yeah, seriously, can we do other planets in Tatooine? Like, just don't go to Tatooine. Like, we don't need it. We've done that enough. As for Reva.
They tried it in the later movies and they got yelled at for it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. So as for Reva, initially it was like, okay, here we go again. Like we've seen this before in many other franchises. Yes, we've got the black woman who is awesome, except she's kind of not. She kind of gets her ass kicked and talked down by all the other Inquisitors, and she just kind of comes off as like very whiny and petulant. Yeah. It's all about me. It's all about my plans. I don't care about anyone else in my organization. And she's like, I actually kind of thought it was a bit refreshing in that, yes, she is I hate to say, like the diversity representative, cast member here, but she's also playing a villain for a lot of this, which I kind of thought was a bit refreshing. And, she does get owned by other characters. And, and then we do actually get her backstory, the realization of why she's doing it. And she's not really heroic when that's even revealed. It's more like you're doing all these horrible things so you can do another horrible thing that doesn't even work in the end. And then after that, she tries to do another horrible thing. And at the very end of her arc, she's like, oh, wait, maybe I'm being a bad person here. And maybe I should stop doing that. I am trying to solve the issue of like all the children around me were murdered by a child murderer with child murder. This isn't the best plan now that I think about it. So, and I think like that actually was a good aspect of her character is, she's more interesting now that she does have this tragic backstory and also this thing that she has to atone for. So while I'm not like on board with, yes, stunning and brave, amazing new character, I'm like, okay, like if they bring her into the timeline in the right way, not trying to be too pushy, like maybe don't jump right into the Reva, a Star Wars story series, maybe have her show up in a couple of other things first to, and flesh her out a bit where she's going from now, like it could work.
Ronnie, you've had like 20 minutes of me and David kind of going back and forth here. I want to focus on the Reva stuff. So what's your opinion?
For the longest time, I've tried not to be in the mindset of quit pushing me Disney and start
the checklist characters sort of thing.
Yeah, stop pushing the checklist characters on me and stop. I'm like, okay, let's do this. She broke me. I'm very much in that camp now of like, you're putting this character out there as almost to pander,
yeah,
or check a list, and then you did it badly.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what you've done is just you've ruined a character. You want to impress me? Do another miniseries of nothing but of the Inquisitors, and make her make her the main character.
I actually think that's on. I want to say that there is an Inquisitor show coming up.
Well, it's ruined now because they're all douchebags. You know, I mean, they're all useless in my opinion. They're all. I mean, like, you know, I played Fallen Order, the video game. They're in there. They're badass in there. And now it's just they focus too much on her and her story, and like I said, they wrote her story badly. I mean, like, it just didn't make any sense. So just like you said, I'm a bad person that's doing bad things, so I can get rid of this bad person who did bad things back in the day. But maybe I'm too bad of a person. Maybe I should be a better person, and I do this one bad thing that makes all the bad things go away and become good. And then you're just like, what? And then, you know, Vader, you know, like she just gets dismantled. And I'm like, okay, well, never mind. She didn't really matter anyway, right? And you're back to Obi-Wan. Why? Just focus on him. Focus on the storyline. As far as Leia being the only kid in the galaxy, I'm with David because she's one of the twins of the Chosen One. Yeah. So I know.
Yeah, I don't like the Chosen One narrative either, though it didn't really work out for the Jedi. Just saying.
Right.
That's kind of my point. Obi-Wan can't owe someone a favor. Get my kid back, you know, or like I don't know. He owes a gambling debt. Something. Nothing. I mean, it always has to be Luke and Leia.
Yeah, Watto comes back. I know Qui-Gon messed with the dice.
See, I would have loved that. Just like Watto comes back, it's like, motherfucker, you owe me so many credits. What?
Yeah. Obi-Wan has to rig a pod race.
Yeah, Obi-Wan has to become like a work for hire, and it was just like, I need you to go. Like, my kid's been kidnapped by Hutts. Go get him.
Hey, unpaid internet Disney. We just came up with seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah, there you go. Obi-Wan for hire. Better call Obi-Wan.
Gosh, I just remember Spencer for Hire, the show.
Yeah, you and Hayden will take 1% of your paycheck as a gratuity.
Yes, please. This operation doesn't fund itself for sure. Ronnie, I'm gonna take this opportunity to just kind of jump in here and talk about Darth Vader.
Okay.
So Darth Vader starts off in A New Hope, and look, let's not be pedantic. I understand that it's like David Prowse in a shitty suit, you know, and he's just meh. That bad. Like, there's not a. If you look at the way Darth Vader operates in A New Hope, he kind of throws a guy here, chokes a guy there. He's not controlling everything. You know, he's not able to Thanos and throw a mountain.
Right.
And then over time, they made Darth Vader into Thanos, and it got ridiculous on this show. I brought this up in the chat. It kind of, hi, sweet boy.
Okay, hey, buddy.
I brought this up in the chat. It generated a little bit of discussion. I want to rehash that now. Overpowered Vader provides zero tension. Let me go back. When he does it in Rogue One, where he's just chopping guys to bits, it's a cool little horror scene in this war movie they did. I actually think of the new Star Wars, Rogue One is like by far my favorite movie.
It's one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that like the Red Letter Media guys tend to make fun of that scene. But
why?
Because it's one of those things where no one liked Hayden Christensen in the two prequel movies. They think that he was a pussy and that it was a bad representation of Vader. And then of course you have him going, dude, where's Padme? No. You know, so it was like, it seemed purposefully redemptive of that character's coolness for him to slaughter rebels hither and thither, but I don't care. It still looked cool. But
it was a good way of showing how a Jedi or a Sith would look to the everyman.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my point. Like I didn't mind it when they did it once in Rogue One. Here, it's 3 and 4 episodes of Darth Vader throwing mountains. It got ridiculous, Ronnie. Oh, Darth Vader was so overpowered in this, and we talked about like Reva, and you know she's wanting to like stab Darth Vader and everything. It's like, how? There's no possible way you could ever. The way he's presented in this show, there's no possible way he could have ever been beaten. Like,
yeah, well, what's your master plan? I'm going to wait till his back is turned towards me and try and stab him in the back.
The omniscient guy with telekinesis and telepathy. Sure, good job. The argument that I'm making is that in service to trying to make the fans happy by creating a yet another cool Vader action scene, They made him so overpowerful that it sucks the tension out of those scenes for me. And then while I'm with you, David, that following, I like how Obi-Wan got his groove back storyline. I like that he starts off and he can barely feel the Force. That would make sense. He has fallen out of faith with his God. This is a very D&D thing, Ronnie.
Well, he's in hiding, right?
Well,
and we know that Jedi can sense each other. So
he's blocked himself off.
But I was thinking about, do you remember the Dragonlance books, Ronnie?
Oh, yeah.
And how, the clerics can't feel their God after the Cataclysm, and it had been so long, and, and they eventually kind of get back to it, but because they had waited so long, those many years after the Cataclysm, they couldn't do clerical magic in the beginning. It was something they had to build up to.
You've never been more attractive to me, Mark Radulich.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
And we're back to normal again. My point is, I'm using that as a comparison. Having him having to reconnect to the Force, all of that made sense to me. But I'm really tired of the inability to use restraint in writing these days, and so he can't just be a powerful Jedi. He has to throw the mountain back at Darth Vader. It got insanely stupid by the end of it, to the point where I'm like, Marvel, the big criticism of Marvel stuff is it's two guys with the same powers throwing energy balls at each other like Dragon Ball Z. Marvel went Lucasfilm went the Marvel route here. It's too many IP. Can't we talk about talking dicks and Pam and Tommy? God damn it! I want to talk about talking Peni. No, all right. You see my point. They lost sight of the dramatic tension and just went for pure over the top ridiculous spectacle, and the show doesn't earn it. Not like Thanos does in Infinity War, where it made a little bit more sense that character could do those things. But what do you think?
I can agree with you on that. While the everyman in me was just going, "Yay, pretty lights and flashing things, and cool lightsaber moves." And
damn you, Radulich, for making me think about stuff.
Yeah, but I can get behind that because you go back and you look at the simplicity of the first of A New Hope and their last duel there. I get it. Alec Guinness didn't have a clue what he was doing, and he didn't care at that point. And poor Prowse probably had the mobility of the actual Star Wars toys, what was up and down, and that was it.
And it said,
yeah, they were doing kendo without any training.
Yeah, exactly. It was something simple about it. Just like maybe Obi-Wan didn't want to do much there because he knew he was going to sacrifice himself. That's why he just held the lightsaber up and was like, do your thing. He just, there's a honest to goodness. It matches the Jedi for in the simplicity of everything. They're almost like Ronin or, samurai.
Can I ask you a question, Ronnie? I want to see if I'm attractive to you after I say this. Okay. So you know how in D&D, especially low-level wizards, they use a spell. You have to wait 24 hours to use your spell again.
Yep.
Okay. It takes, you get to levels 10, 20, 30, to where you can use more spells and it doesn't drain you of all your energy.
Yeah.
There's a reason they do that, Ronnie. What's the reason?
God, you haven't played since first edition, have you? What was the reason? You tell me the reason.
The reason is if they give you all the powers all at once, there's no tension here. There's nothing to it.
There's no tension. There's no exactly. Yeah. And I get that. Okay, so I mean, who's watched the Clone Wars where Obi-Wan and Darth Maul meet? Where he screams Kenobi, and they meet in the desert. And spoilers if you haven't seen it. They face off at night. Darth Maul's got his robot legs because he got cut in half or whatever, and he's pissed at Obi-Wan because he took away his wiener. And
wouldn't you?
Yeah. So Obi-Wan looks at him, and he's like, there's no getting around it. There's going to be a duel. So he flips his lightsaber up, and he does the whole 2-finger lightsaber over the thing pose, and that's his old self. And then all of a sudden, he takes you can see it, even though it's animation. He thinks about it, and then he takes it and he puts it in front of him, and he's Alec Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
And then he draws it back, and he's Qui-Gon Jinn. And then, just out of rage, Darth Maul charges him, and it's one move, and he cuts him down. And there's no flips or force or anything like that. It's one cut, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
that was in Rebels, but yeah,
that was in Rebels. I'm sorry, yeah, and it was beautiful, and I couldn't have asked for a better duel than that, because it was simple, and it was done, and it was wonderful.
Well,
and I wish, but you can't really do that, of course, with Darth Vader and Obi Wan, because of later on they meet again. But give me something in between that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Dave. Yeah, so like when you look at high level fighters, from what I've seen, is like there isn't a lot of punchy in there.
Yeah,
because they're at that level where like all they need is one opening and boom, it's done. Like you look at from what I've seen of like high level UFC, right? Most of the beginning of their matches is like them just feeling each other out, and then maybe someone starts to make a move, and no, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a hit, someone goes down, and it's on. Same thing when I've watched like kendo tournaments. You see the more senior guys, and they're not like whack 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 like high school students. It's you just see them like their swords crossed, they're like kind of tapping each other, and then all of a sudden, wham! Someone goes through, and then with a sword, one hit, you're done.
Yeah,
right.
So
yeah, and I realize that like for an action scene in a movie, it's not that compelling. You want lots of backflips and swishing back and forth, which I think in Revenge of the Sith, like they got so caught up with how important the Obi-Wan Anakin duel was that they just went super crazy over the top with it, and it just became tiring.
Ham with that, man. I was like, even then, I was like, this is wonderful. And about 45 minutes later, I was like, are they going to do something with this, or are they just going to wave lightsabers?
I've never seen this. I've never seen a sword fight completely miss the point of a sword fight before.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, where like throwing mountains aside, I thought that the final duel between Vader and Obi-Wan was a much better duel. That was more the duel we should have had instead of the one that we got. I just thematically it was better, though. I do kind of wish when Vader like threw Obi-Wan down the cliff and started burying him in the mountain, he said like, "Now Obi-Wan, I have the high ground."
Yeah,
yeah, but anyway, that's my fan service level. But like I agree. Like when you're at the point of like throwing mountains at each other or ripping spaceships out of the sky, it's like, do you really need the laser swords at this point?
Why wasn't he able to do that when they were at Mos Eisley's when the Taco was getting away? Like things like that. Like there comes a point where if he can do that, then why isn't he doing it in the other movies? Why are there movies then?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, as a great Jedi once said, size matters not. But that was more to make a point about what one can do in appearance versus reality.
Here's the thing: I'm not nearly the critical analyzer that like Robert Winfrey is. When you can't convince me what I'm looking at has any kind of tension to it, and I'm just sitting there like, if he can do that kind of wizardry, like wizardry, think about like Harry Potter. Harry Potter doesn't always get his spells right. Harry Potter like messes up his spell. Even Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, couldn't get his spell right in Spider-Man. I mean, like if you don't make your action heroes, your action heroes and villains for that matter, somewhat fallible, then it just becomes a demo reel of power, and that's not fun to watch. And that's where I ultimately got to with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yeah. I do appreciate that in Attack of the Clones, like when Yoda faces off against Count Dooku, they start by throwing stuff at each other using the Force. And then it's eventually like, it seems, Master Yoda, that our abilities with the Force are evenly matched. We will have to decide this by lightsaber. And then we get the lightsaber fight. So it's like, okay, so there's actually a bit of a precedent there. but yeah, this one is just like laser sword, laser sword, laser. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to try throwing planets at people now. Maybe that should have been your opening move.
I want a show now of like Jedi Academy set in the Old Republic where it's like day one class, day one of your class at Jedi school throwing shit. It's like, okay, throw a book, throw a shelf, throw the class. Got it. Next class.
How many students do they lose a year when they look down into the lightsaber and actually ignite it, like in that meme?
Oh, Mandy, I did it again.
I just want to go back to the Yoda versus Dooku, because you have that awesome scene where he says that where our force powers are matched. We have to decide this by lightsaber, and then when you sit there and you think,
you say that, and all I can think about is I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
It's mine. But
I hate when I get my Schwartz twisted.
you see this, you hear that awesome that setup, oh man, they're gonna have a lightsaber duel, and then I couldn't help but think myself that's 80-some-year-old,
Christopher Lee
fencing with a little green monster that's not really there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure some of that fight, even Christopher Lee wasn't there.
That's true.
The CGI is wrong with this one.
He did a lot of his own fencing. That's why his lightsaber is curved, because he wanted more of a fencing sword.
Yeah.
And
going back to you, David, just finish up your point about Darth Vader, because I got to talk about that final duel with them, because I really again, I mentioned this got to WandaVision levels of bad at the end. To where I was okay with a lot of the show, to believe it or not. I know I'm being critical now, but that's the point of the podcast. And for the most part, I was enjoying what I was watching, at least on a I'm not bored level. And then we get to that ending, and I was wanting to throw shit again. So let me finish up your on Darth Vader, and then I'll make my point.
Sure. I did enjoy his fight with Reva, because for all our talks of the magical do everything black woman, he just whooped her. Like that was just you could tell this is not even a contest. The only reason she's not dead is because he just decided not to kill her.
Yep.
That was just he one-handed. He even just blocks her sword with just using the force. It was just absolutely great. You're just being toyed with. Again, it kind of harkened back to Empire when he's fighting with Luke, and it's Vader could have killed Luke at any time in that. The only reason he didn't, because he wanted him to join the dark side. So I thought there was some good story to
even at the end with Empire Strikes Back, when he's utterly lost his patience with Luke, and they're nowhere near the carbonite, and now he's just wanting to beat him to death. Even then, that was somewhat restrained.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying this is therefore as good as Empire. No, I'm just saying there is that was the thing from the originals that it reminded me the most of. I remember. So, I think my only other issue is Obi-Wan beats Vader in the end, which fine, but then he lets him live.
Okay, you said it. I got to stop you now.
This is where we're going. All right, I'll put a pin in that.
Yep. We're gonna come back to it. Okay. So at the end of WandaVision, Wanda has spent weeks torturing the people of Westfield.
Knowingly.
Right. She is knowingly torturing these people so that she can get over the trauma of Vision dying. Okay.
Yeah, if Agatha had kept that secret from her, then everything makes sense now. But no. Yeah.
So she does not give up Westfield of her own volition. She's forced to. She has to end this. She may die if she doesn't. And so under duress, she stops torturing people, and Captain Marvel says to her, not Brie Larson, the new one, the black one.
Yeah, Monica Rambeau or
Monica Rambeau. Yeah, John Rambo. Got it. Says to her, they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. And I, like Darth Vader, through my television, through the couch, through the mountain, everything, through my pants, most importantly.
Screamed out, no!
Some of the worst writing I've ever heard. You cannot justify human rights violations that way. That's
remember when the mom from that 70s show was begging her to kill her rather than live under mind control in Westfield.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I just want to see my daughter who I haven't seen in weeks. I would like to be happy. Okay. It's not heroic. Fast forward to Obi-Wan. Darth Vader killed children. Let's not forget that. Let's not just skate on by shit, who hasn't killed a kid?
No, he killed kids before he was Darth Vader even.
Well, no, he was Darth Vader. Well, if we're talking the Sand People, sure, but
much more understandable. Yes,
the Sand People had it coming.
By the way, I just a brief aside. I know I couldn't make it for the Boba Fett review, but when he's like, the Sand People told me the value of family, it's I remember when I met the Sand People. It's they found me alone on the desert, and they tied me to a bantha and dragged me for 4 kilometers. And then they tied me to a stick in the post in the ground while the sun like peeled my skin off. And every morning the kids would come out and beat me with sticks.
They know the value of family.
Yeah. It's like, why did you not murder all these people?
Yeah.
You had the chance. Yeah.
I did say that they had breakfast with one another each morning.
That's right. Listen,
And then
I can't. Look, if only the Nazis and the Jews had a bowl of cereal. Listen, let me. Darth
Vader
Vader
learned their respect, and then they shoved a lizard up my nose.
Darth Vader killed a lot of children, and then in the interim years between the 10 years between killing children and this series, he killed a lot more people.
Oh, he like snaps a kid's neck looking for Obi Wan, and the first planet they meet on.
He's the second in command of the Galactic Empire, currently enslaving the universe and killing aliens, enslaving them, hurting people. And oh, by the way, and maybe this wasn't known at the time, but they are actively building a genocide weapon. And there's Ewan McGregor, old Obi Wan Kenobi. He has Darth Vader dead to rights. Half his mask is off, and they have a very nice moment. You didn't kill me, I killed me. Yay. Yeah.
That is an oddly nice thing for him to say. Like, I would almost be going like, that is actually proof that there is still good left in you, that you're kind of letting me off the hook here.
Yeah. They had a nice moment of absolution, and had the Enterprise then appeared and beamed him up, that would have been fine. If there was a reason that Obi-Wan had to be run off before delivering the death blow to the murderer.
Yeah, ground Vader falls off a cliff. We don't know if he's alive or not.
No.
Kind of Kylo Ren Rey-esque. Sorry to bring that up, but
that's my point. Is this keeps happening, and so they have this moment like, you didn't kill Anakin. Darth Vader killed Anakin. Okie dokie, and then he's like, right. At which point he should have cut his head off, and he doesn't. He just goes, "Thank you, Anakin. I feel better now," and like fucks off.
Yeah, I can understand them leaving Reva alive because that's just like being dicks. Like, this is like killing you after you have failed so completely would be a mercy.
There's a joke here about Republicans and Democrats, but you and Ronnie are here, so I'm not making it. But it's like, does anyone care about the children? Nobody that wrote the show does. I can tell you that much. That ending was WandaVision bad, Ronnie. You can argue against it if you want, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do so, but I hated that ending so much. Flames on the side of my face, heaving, breathing. Go.
Good clue pull. That was
Thank
deep.
You.
1 + 2 + 1 + 2 + 1.
I thought it meant like you were called fruits.
I'm a plant. Oh dear. When it comes down to Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, sometimes you just owe a bro.
Okay.
That must have been one hell of a debt.
It's like,
Anakin, remember the time you saved the entire galaxy? Well, now we're even.
We can't. Fucking Christ. How many people did Darth Vader kill? That's fine. He said, I'm sorry. Let him go. I want to try. I would love to try that in real life. You killed how many people? Lots. Are you sorry? Yes. Let him go, boys.
How are all these people dying? Again.
He told me he learned his lesson. We believed him.
I
Defend it
have
if
no
you want,
excuse.
Ronnie. Defend it if you want.
I can't.
Okay. It's dumb, right?
That's just it. I mean, it didn't hit me like that at the end. It was odd. Like, that's a funny choice. I see why he can't make that, because there would be no.
Because he has to be alive in the next movie, which is half my problem with a lot of this stupid shit.
Right. But why couldn't somebody have? I mean, like, why couldn't something have happened to make Obi-Wan not make that choice?
He gets run off, and like, he can't deliver the death blow. Something got in his way. He was like, all right, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out in 10 more years. What?
All right, bro. Good game.
Yeah, exactly. Good game, buddy. Good game.
Yeah.
Listen, if I let you up, will you promise not to kill any more kids?
Darth Vader, I'm sorry. So sorry.
Okay. All right, Darth.
Evil will always triumph over good because good
is dumb. All right, let's in the few moments that we have
for
left.
that, man.
Okay, yeah, moving on. There is nothing. It's dumb, and that's my big problem with this show. It's kind of like what I said, David, about Lightyear, where it's a nice little action adventure show, but it's so slight in so many ways, and some of the writing is so bad in places that you have to be. Chris Bailey is going to listen to this, and I'm going to get an angry chat. I'm going to get an angry text from him.
Oh no, not another angry text.
Leave Chris Bailey alone, you.
That wasn't a unique to Chris Bailey comment. Have you been on the internet?
The what now? I'm going to get an angry text from Chris. Hi, Chris Bailey. And he's going to be like, "It's you spent an hour ripping this show down, and you didn't talk about any of the fan service. You didn't talk about the Easter eggs. You didn't talk about how this was a love letter. It's not a love letter. It's a hand job. This is a hand job to Star Wars fans. And when you're getting a hand job, you don't really, like maybe the girl has like rings on her fingers or something, or they're quite doing it with the rhythm that you quite want her to, but you're just happy to have the hand job. So
do you save these for when I'm on your show?
No, I do them to everybody.
He's right. He does.
Yeah. Obi-Wan is a hand job to the Star Wars fans. And no one's going to turn that down, and everyone's going to be grateful for the effort. But that doesn't mean it was a good hand job, David. That's what I want to say to the Chris Baileys of the world. I'm glad you got your Easter eggs. I'm glad you got your fan service. I'm glad that this show brought joy to your world. None of those things mean it's well written or things make sense or follow logically. Your thoughts?
Yeah, agreed. Like, member berries are not a substitute for good writing. Also, Star Trek. Same to you.
Star Trek, shoot him in the face. Ronnie, in the few moments that we have left, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we have not touched on?
Not really. I mean, just other than the fact that, like, when you look at A New Hope, and she's all about, hey, find Obi Wan Kenobi. He's our only hope. Blah 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 blah. How does she know him? Did she learn about him? She didn't really specifically say her dad told her about him or anything like that. I don't think. I can't remember.
Created my father in the Clone Wars. That's what she knows.
That's right. Yeah. But she knows him at this point. But they patched a lot of the plot holes while completely causing a few more.
we paved the plot holes with a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plot holes.
You tried to patch a plot hole with a jackhammer.
It tore up the street in the process.
So I get what they were trying to do, and they did some good, and it was good. I liked it. I mean, like, I'm not going to say I was absolutely in love with it.
Did you enjoy your hand job? Just say yes. Say yes, and let's move this on.
No, I'm not going to say yes.
You're a good boy, Ronnie Adams.
It's just one of those things where, like, I could love Ewan McGregor and his portrayal of Obi-Wan. So that was mainly what I was watching it for anyway. Then I got the surprise of, hey, we have another, main character in Rita, which was like surprising me with ketchup on a ham sandwich. It was terrible. But it was, overall, I enjoyed it, but there were some things I would change, a lot of things I would change about it.
David, your final thoughts here on the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, like I'm glad when things started, I didn't freak out, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait and see how things are going to go. I'm going to steel myself for disappointment, but I'm gonna give it a chance because I think you should give everything a chance at least. Like see what they do with it in the end. And it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was like, a lot of that kind of crap where we have to humiliate Obi-Wan so that our new characters can look that much better. Pro writing tip, guys, for dealing with fan bases: if you have to make an old character look bad to make your new character look good, your new character needs to be better, and that's on you.
Boom.
Yeah. But I kind of find it interesting that they were using the Inquisitors, because that's like a Dave Filoni sort of thing, and yet his name was not in any of the credits. So the best way I think I could kind of describe the show is it's kind of like Team Kathleen Kennedy trying to do a Dave Filoni show and kind of mostly succeeding. All of your criticisms I think are valid. Like if you think about the show, things don't make sense. Why would Obi-Wan leave Anakin still alive even after saying, one of us lives, one of us dies, no matter what, it ends today. One last thing I have to say is when they're following the ship in the Star Destroyer and Obi-Wan leaves on his little escape craft and they're like, which ship do we go after? It's like, you're in a freaking Star Destroyer. It's called a Star Destroyer because it has like enough troops and ships in it to conquer a star system. The Star Destroyer can go after one ship, send some TIE fighters or shuttles after the other ship. You can do both. You're the friggin' Empire.
Or, I don't know, shoot him with your fucking starship laser.
Yeah, exactly. That was just one of those, we could do both. Like, seriously, Emperor Palpatine, Vader, this is the guy that you have in charge of your important shit. It's kind of a miracle that the Clone Wars actually ended in victory with Anakin on that side. Seriously, strategy 101. Anyway, now that I'm off my soapbox, even my wife was like, this is not making any sense. So, Ewan McGregor, I enjoyed. I thought that the story was for the most decent. It was how Obi-Wan got his groove back, and Obi-Wan did get his groove back, and I didn't feel like he was kneecapped by any of the other characters in the show.
I'll tell you, that's the best part of the show for me is Ewan McGregor, has shit tons of charisma. He has more charisma as a little pinky than most actors have in their entire body, and he carries the show. Ewan McGregor, as a person struggling with guilt, and
makes sense.
I see that's all the stuff that's really good about the
show. Everything in his life that he valued has been taken from him.
Right.
His best friend basically murdered his entire family and plunged the galaxy into pretty much fascism, slavery, and all the bad things.
Yeah, he might not sleep well at night.
Yeah, he might have some issues to work through.
He's not gonna be Franklin from Snowfall. How do you sleep at night? Like a baby.
Yeah, he used to be like a general commanding armies across the galaxy. Now he's like cutting up a fish for some jackass in the middle of a desert. He's and the one thing that he's trying to do, protect Luke, Owen won't even let him near him. Though, we get a little thing at the
end. But that's all the stuff about.
Yeah.
So when Chris Bailey listens to this review and be like, "I hate you, Radulich. Why won't you say something nice about my show?" A character doing some self-examination and looking for a way back to his faith and trying and seeking redemption, struggling with guilt. All of those things were actually handled well. Credit to terrible Hollywood writers, that's the part they got right. But I think my struggle and why I'm always a touch hostile when we do reviews like this is, and I can see somebody who's a big Star Wars fan. I keep mentioning Chris, who I love to death, but Chris and all the MCU bleeding edge guys and Alexis and all them, why do you hate us? Why must you hate us? Because I must. No, it's because I think there's talent enough there to do what they did here, which is, this meditation on trauma and, and redemption and all of that. That's all well done. But you can't just have one leg on the stool functioning. Mm-hmm. The other legs have to function as well.
Yeah.
And
but I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think my final thought is by the end of the show, Obi-Wan's not ruined, and in fact, he's actually kind of a bit cooler than he was when we last saw him.
I really would have preferred. I think here's my other problem with this. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we can call it.
Yeah.
They, for some stupid reason, sent him on an adventure that was inconsequential. By the end of the adventure, he's not. I mean, mentally, spiritually, he's better off than he started. That's all well and good, but it didn't really matter. because when Luke meets him in 10 more years, it's like, oh, you're old enough now. we got to get the ball rolling here. Like, regardless of how he mentally was at that point, he knew the time had come. That's where.
Well, your uncle's charcoal now, so I can finally teach you about the Force.
That's not what happens. He finds him knocked out in the desert by sand people, and then he was like, "Oh, I found you. Ever mentioned that your father's a child murderer? No, here's a sword." That's how that scene goes. And then Luke's like, "Fuck off, dude. I gotta go to the farm and milk the cow." And he was like, "Well, we'll go to the farm, but you're not gonna like what you see." And the cow was dead. So that's how I remember Star Wars. In any case,
what's it like in your head?
A lot of hand jobs. Now listen, fucking walked right into it again. I don't know why. When we meet Obi-Wan, he's not any different than what we find him in the show. The whole adventure is inconsequential. Like, you could have not known what happened or known what happened. It really wouldn't make a difference. A New Hope is what it is. And here's the thing. If I don't mind an inconsequential side quest with, our favorite character and actor, but if it's inconsequential, why did it have to be a slave to the greater narrative? Why did we have to have Leia? Why did we have to do why do we have to have Darth Vader in this? Why can't
that was member berries, but Darth Vader awesome.
That's my point. If you have this opportunity to sell a 6-hour movie where Obi-Wan goes on a fun adventure, why are you just limiting yourself to this very small area of the universe? Why not go crazy? And then when it's over, he's no better off than he was before, but at least we went on a fun ride. Like, instead of taking us on the roller coaster that was the potential for this show, we kind of just did a merry-go-round. I'm looking at heads looking down, and I don't know if I've just beaten you two to death or you're distracted.
One thing I might add to that is maybe look at it as a bit more. It's not so much the bigger picture. What happens is it's not so much about Obi-Wan as it's about Leia. Like, I think
who cares?
Well, she's kind of important to the series.
She has her own 3 movies coming up. Oh, David,
it's not about Leia in the show. It's more about Obi-Wan sort of nurturing her and having an effect on her throughout the show, like sort of unlocking that potential within her to be the Leia that we meet when she grows up. But like he sort of says, you can't have a blaster. You're 10, but someday you won't be 10.
I accept your point. It hurts my soul.
I mean, clearly it's a bunch of liberal anti-gun propaganda.
Dude, I don't know why we don't talk more. You're awesome.
Yeah, really. You do need to go on a hot date when we're done here.
If you haven't done so already, listen to the solo review. I was on fire.
Yeah, you are.
Legit, though. Like, okay, so think about this, and that's why I had my head down. Why did they have to have Leia? So, what the number one question I was asked as a Star Wars fan, a lifelong Star Wars fan, when people who aren't really Star Wars fans watch Rogue One, who say, yeah, I love Star Wars, but they watched Rogue One, said, I hated it. Why? Well, there was no Darth Vader, really. There was no Chewbacca. Where was that? Where was this person? And I'm like, do you not know what this story was about? I wish someone doesn't watch any of this, and Hayden Christensen was brought back.
Okay, the rule is if you're going to acknowledge the screen, you have to read it out loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question. Patrick Mullen has a question. As someone who doesn't watch any of this, is it a big deal that Hayden Christensen was brought back since you can't actually see him whilst in the Vader suit? You get to see part of his charbroiled face.
And there's also a flashback scene, where him and Obi-Wan are having.
Yeah,
that was actually a really good story device, I thought.
Yes. I mean, Hayden Christensen looks a million years old now, and it's supposed to be a flashback to when he wasn't a million. But, that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Ronnie,
Disney wasn't willing to break out the funds to do the digital de-aging for Hayden
to Uncanny Valley him. Go ahead and finish up there, Ronnie.
They didn't know. They weren't familiar with anybody in the movie, so therefore it wasn't Star Wars to them. And I was like, that's funny because it's not Star Wars; it's a Star Wars story. It's filling that plot hole between. Let's say, well, how did we? A lot of oh gosh, help me out, David. A lot of somebody's gave their lives for these plans.
Bothans.
Yeah. Bothans, yeah, a lot of Bothans gave their lives for these plans. There's a big. How did they? Why? How did they get this? What's going on here? Well, they made a whole freaking movie about it. Well, that's dumb. That's legitimately a quote from someone who watched this movie, and they said, that's dumb. So, I understand why they throw big names in there, such as Leia. Now, Leia, there was a good plot device. It was, I think they used it well. I understand your point of like, there's a million other people, there's billions of people in the galaxy. Why her? Well, he just happens to be within his 15-minute, or 15-mile delivery radius. So, it was just one of those things where people will recognize her. She's well within the range of him being able to be around her. Just do it, because it boggles people's mind when you throw a whole new cast in there or a new character that somebody should care about. Why should I care about this person? They're not a Wookiee. They're not my favorite little bears that run around and throw rocks at stormtroopers. It's just one of those things where, and I'm not saying, they shouldn't enjoy Star Wars. Yes, they should, but they just don't get it, I guess I could say.
So one thing that bugs me about Rogue One and this show, like, why do stormtroopers wear helmets?
Why do they wear the armor at all?
Yeah. Like, I understand, okay, blasters, okay, sure, blaster, you can blast your armor, but like, they keep on punching them out in the head, and like, what is the one thing a helmet is supposed to protect against?
Have you guys been watching? You guys, we're reviewing Halo next week. Have you watched any of Halo yet?
I got to the first episode. I'm gonna try and get through the rest of it.
There's a scene where one character is punching the armor, and I understand where at the end of the scene it makes a little bit sense why they're doing that. But like, do people not understand what the function of armor is?
Yeah, but like just once, I'd like for a character to like try whacking a stormtrooper in the helmet, and the stormtrooper just looks at them and goes, "Really?"
Helmet.
Yeah.
Oh goodness!
All right, are we done? Are we tapping out?
Other than why to back up your why do they wear armor at all? Look at the Mandalorian when they first introduced Boba Fett in it, and he broke their armor with a stick.
Good point.
Okay, David. Anything else?
No, I think I've gotten through all my points.
All right, well, folks, that wraps up one of the last TV shows. Hey, Mark, why don't you review TV shows anymore? Fucking, this is why. Though I enjoyed our conversation, guys.
I did too.
Tomorrow, we're gonna review one of Ronnie Adams' favorite bands, Ailstorm, Seventh Rum of a Seventh Rum, because Ronnie loves the pirate metal.
Actually, I do.
And then we've got a couple of re-airings that we're doing, some old Metal Hammer of Dooms that never had pages on our W2M net site. So we got Whitesnake, Flesh and Blood, with the single "Shut Up and Kiss Me," Ronnie Adams. Shut up and kiss me.
After that Dragonlance stuff, you watch out, Tiger.
I don't know. And then Eleviti, that album that we reviewed back then, which I cannot pronounce, but Ronnie Adams will be back. Ronnie Adams and I are going to have a sexy date. We're going to talk old TV shows that were made into movies. The A-Team, starring Rampage Jackson, Miami Vice, and Dukes of Hazzard, starring Johnny Knoxville. So,
out of the incredible stellar cast that is in the A-Team,
yes.
You immediately go to Rampage Jackson?
Yep, it's going to be some black-on-black crime. So that's and then we'll be back again. It'll be myself, David Wright, and Ronnie Adams. Jesus Christ, and Jason Teasley, little Jason Teasley. Can't forget about him. He'll get upset with us. We'll be reviewing the new Halo series. I mentioned to one of my friends, Halo fucking broke me, by the way. Halo is a big reason why I'm not doing television very, very soon.
Such high hopes for that show.
Oof. I have committed to shows because of the kind of IP they are without actually wanting to talk about the shows because they've moved me in some way. And the last one that went down that road for me was Halo. So I'm committed to it. We're going to do it, but yikes, guys. And speaking of yikes, we're going to review Pat Mullen's new favorite movie coming up, Thor: Love and Thunder, featuring his favorite Thor of all time, Natalie Portman's Femme Thor. Hi, Pat. And David Wright will be joining us to cut through that steaming pile. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. So that'll be Tuesday, Thor: Love and Thunder. And then, hey, picture this in your mind's eye. I will be gone the rest of the week. I will be at a nudist resort. How about that?
What? No.
Yeah. So no more podcasts for the week, but we are going to re-air an old one that Robert and I did. The Legend of Tarzan, that'll be July 14th. On Trial Inception, that's another re-air. That'll be the 16th. And then we'll be back again on Sunday, the 17th, for a triple feature, Studio 666, featuring the Foo Fighters, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, and Detroit Rock City. Guess the theme, everybody. Guess the theme. David Wright, what are you doing in the world?
I think the only thing you haven't mentioned is Strange New Worlds in
Yes.
August.
September 20th.
September?
Yep.
Okay, so it shifted. Okay.
Yes,
That
it
should work
shifted.
better for me.
It shifted during the Great Cutback. So yes, David will be back in September to discuss Strange New Worlds. Roddy Adams of the Screaming Boy podcast. Tell him where you twitch and shout.
I don't do the Streaming Boy podcast anymore, but I do have a Twitch channel. It's called Misfits and Miscreants. We stream mostly D&D right now, once every 2 weeks. I've got some other shows that are in the works. I'm writing a few things. Yes, I do write. I understand how, maybe just on a 5th grade level, but it's there. But no, I'm there are a couple of games that I truly enjoy running, and I'm going to get some people involved in them. One's called Kids on Bikes. And that's what it's about. It's set in the 80s, and it is about kids on bikes going around their neighborhood solving little mysteries or whatever. It's definitely based on It, Goonies, Stranger Things, E.T., things like that. And then there is one Call of Cthulhu, 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, which I am going to. I've got a special little thing planned around that. I am from the Appalachia area, from West Virginia. Now live in North Carolina, which is still in the Appalachians. Well, you know, they go through there all the way down to Georgia. And so I would like to focus mostly on the Appalachian folklore, magic and fairies and haints and the spookiness of that. So we're going to be playing some games like that, and hopefully people enjoy it and it'll take off and they want to keep playing. So we'll be streaming that. So there's going to be some cool stuff coming up. I may even paint some minis, which I enjoy doing on air. So just keep watching, and every once in a while you'll see my big dumb head playing some sort of video game. So yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff on there. I say we, but it's just mostly me, until I get the games really, really going. But yeah, other than that, give Misfits and Miscreants a follow, and keep watching out for some cool stuff coming up.
All right, Pat wants me to plug his screenplay. Pat Mullen is writing a rom-com called Stumble, about a girl who meets a boy on a dating app who she doesn't like, then dates, then a series of things happen, and spoiler, they get together in the end. And in the sequel, 10 years into it, she says she's depressed and wants to be polyamorous. Good night, everybody. Be well, be safe, and behave.